Let's talk about it. I came across this video you see on the screen this morning while scrolling my YouTube timeline. The name of the content creator is Casino is the name, and he was a disabled veteran and federal employee who was let go last Thursday, and he got caught up in the mass layoffs by the Trump administration. I just wanted to go through this video and really let people know that this is really happening in real time, real world, and just give my thoughts and opinions on some of the things he's going to mention in the video. With that being said, let's get into the clip.
Casino is the name. And up until a couple of days ago, I was a federal employee. But I regret to inform you all that I was recently fired from my position. And I've had a long career working for the federal government, both in the military and as a civil service employee. I was, in fact, on a probationary period, which is the people who are targeted by this latest round of layoffs by this administration. They were targeting probationary employees. Now, I'm not a traditional probationary employee. I've already gone through a probationary period, which is usually reserved for people who are new to the federal workforce. So if you're usually in your first year working for the federal government, or maybe sometimes first 2 years of working for the federal government, you go into a probationary period. In that probationary period, they try to fill you out to see you are if you're going to make it through. That first year is just a probationary period, just like this.
Just want to pause it right there really quick. So just to kind of recap what he's saying, he's been with the federal government for some time. He went for I guess, a promotion to a supervisor position, and that's why he was under a probationary period. And unfortunate for him, he just kind of got caught in that probationary period, and he was let go.
Says to see if you'll be somebody who is going to abide by the rules within a certain time frame and work at the level that is required by you. And in that year, within that year, they have, I guess, the right to let you go if you don't meet the standards. And I guess in times like this, where they need to do cutbacks, usually probationary people will be the first ones. And then eventually you become career vested after, I don't know if it's 3 years, I don't know the actual numbers on it. But after about 3 years, you become career vested. I don't know if it's a year or 3 years, whatever it is. I actually did a 2-year probationary period when I first joined the federal civilian workforce because I was a VRA, which is a veteran recruitment authority. I came in under that in one of my I don't know if it was the first one, maybe it was my first and or second job. I was still under that probationary period because it was a 2-year commitment. I did the 2 years. And so I'm on a current probationary period. Well, I was on a probationary period because I was in a supervisory role. So anybody who moves into a supervisory role or leadership role, you have to go through 1 year probationary period to assess you as a supervisor, not so much to assess you in your career status. And so from what I was under the impression was that we were going to be a protected group of people. As far as like supervisors who already had years or had already gone through a probationary period and weren't technically on the probationary status of a typical employee.
Want to pause it right there because that's one thing I have seen in my comments on previous videos that I made in regards to federal employees. Um, a lot of people stated that they did not take the buyout because they were told by their superiors or their management that they were safe not to take the buyout. There was nothing in writing. And what you have to understand about this situation is your supervisors, your management, they do not really know. They're guessing their way through this, and they're giving a lot of bad advice to people that's going to really hurt a lot of people 6, 7 months down the line from now, in my personal opinion. Again, if you watch my previous videos, you know that I'm a strong advocate of people taking the buyout, especially if you're being real with yourself. You know that your position is a little suspect. I mean, again, we have to all be honest with ourselves. If you know that your job is really not that essential or does not align with this administration's agenda, I personally believe it would have been smarter to take the buyout. I think it was 6 or 7 months. They basically essentially paying you to stay home. Again, a lot of people believe that the buyout is not going, they're not going to pay out, they're not going to stick to their word. But my thing is, you have really nothing to lose by taking the buyout because even if you choose not to take the buyout and you turn around and get fired, yeah, you're definitely not getting any type of payout. And what you're going to see in the video shortly is they're putting certain language in these emails that's going to probably make it very difficult for individuals to collect unemployment, and you're going to have to fight tooth and nail for that as well.
But because we're on a probationary status of supervisor, we would not really fall in those cuts, especially veterans. So I'm also a disabled veteran. I'm a disabled veteran. I've already gone through probationary periods, and I was only a probationary supervisor, which they assess me as a supervisor and decide if I can continue on as a supervisor. Yeah, like a 12-year, 12-month window that they assess you in that time frame. And so I was, in fact, let go. I received the termination letter, and the termination letter said it cited something about my quality, like I didn't meet the standards or I did perform at a certain level. And so that's why they were letting me go.
Essentially letting him go, saying that his performance was not up to par um, for that position. Before I go any further, I was looking in the comment section of the video, and this content creator, again, make sure you go subscribe to this brother. Casino is the name. I will leave the link in the description below for his YouTube channel. Um, the position he actually held, the name of that position was a supervisory management analyst, GS 0343-14. Um, that was the position that he was in the probationary period for. Again, for a supervisory management analyst. Again, like I said, this was a pretty decent role. I mean, I'm looking at not pocket watching or anything, but a position and salary information. Depending upon current salary and years of experience at the time of hire, will determine the appropriate salary level. The possible range for GS 14, 107,000 to $139,000 per year, and obviously the other perks and benefits that come along with it. So like I said, this was a pretty decent position. This was not just a little uh 40, $50,000 job. This was something significant and definitely going to hurt. Again, that's why I'm such an advocate and wishing that more people would have taken this buyout because it would have brought you time. That's the key thing with the buyout. I'm not saying that it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, but it gives you time. Just think if people knew 6 months ago what is going on now, how they could have restructured their life and been in a much better position just in 6 to 7 months. How many people would have made potentially sold their homes at the top of the market? How many people would have maybe not went and bought a new car, or maybe went and took the family on a $10,000 year, $7,000 year vacation if they knew they were a federal employee and it was a high likelihood that they would no longer have a job come the top of the year. That's why I'm such a strong proponent of the buyout. Again, because I know the real truth. A lot of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Whether you make $40,000 a year or you make 250, 300, 400, a lot of people are still living paycheck to paycheck. It's just that the more you earn, you just have a lot more to show for it. You might have a bigger house, you might have fancier cars, you might take more lavish vacations, But at the end of the day, a lot of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck and don't have the financial resources, number one, to go up against the government. Well, really, no one does. And number two, the main thing is they're going to drag this thing out. And most people do not have the financial means to play that type of game. Again, let's get back to the video and continue what this brother is saying.
But in fact, I did perform at a certain standard. I had already gone through a rating cycle and everything like that. And so what we find is that most of us receive this same jargon in the letter. And so it really didn't really assist
Again, I'm sure they had lawyers um, go through this thing tooth and nail and told them to put certain language in these emails um, to eventually railroad people in the end. Understand, this was very calculated attack. This was calculated. So when you're dealing with someone or going up against a organization or anybody who's being very calculated in the steps that they're taking against you, you cannot respond with emotion. You cannot respond with going to TikTok and thinking that crying and complaining on TikTok is going to do anything. You have to do what's best for your family. You have to do what's best for you. Again, I think a lot of people are going to be suffering, sadly, in the coming months when their house gets foreclosed on, when their car gets repossessed, when they don't have the money to pay for the next semester of their child's college tuition. There's going to be a lot of ramifications um, from people who chose not to take these buyouts, in my opinion.
me as an individual. It was just, I don't know why they put that statement there, but they did. And they put it in basically everybody's. And so that's where we are. I'm still trying to figure out. They said we can appeal it. They said that there's some other things that we can do. There's class action suits that's going on. There's a lot going on when it comes to this. There's a lot of people who were, I guess, considered erroneously let go, um, which I believe that I'm being told that I'm kind of in that group of erroneously let go because I was already career vested and I wasn't supposed to be a part of that group. But who knows? Maybe nothing gets returned. Maybe I get returned back to my position. Maybe I don't. I don't know. But right now, it's a lot of uncertainty. We just got to keep moving on, you know? So I just want to tell you guys that yes, I am a veteran. I'm a disabled veteran. And I have worked for the federal government for both on my military side, about 14 years. And then I worked for the VA before for a year. I worked for Homeland Security Inspector General for about 5 years, and I moved into a leadership role in my current situation. Well, my most recent situation, I was in a leadership role, and that's why I was in a probationary status, and I was in fact terminated. And I was terminated. My email came Thursday night around 7 o'clock. So Thursday night, and so Friday morning, I'm back working. I don't know because this email came my work email. And so I'm working and I ended up having to tell my leadership, my direct leadership that
Again, this is just another example of how people in the comment section of previous videos telling me that their leadership told them this, their leadership told them that. And as you can see, this is a real world example. His own bosses didn't even know he was fired. He was at work, checked his work email, and then had to go to his superior and say, "Hey, I was let go." They don't even know. So this is what I mean. A lot of people are operating off a lot of misinformation. They're operating off a lot of emotion. And like I said, operating like that in wartime, because you have to look at it as you're a prisoner of war right now if you're a federal employee, um, can be very deadly. And like I said, this is going to have a lot of ramifications. Just not now. We're really not going to see the real ball drop until another 3 to 6 months from now, when even if the little bit of savings people have does run out. And again, it's not going to be easy to just find a job right now. We're already in a tough economy. So now you have thousands upon thousands of people essentially applying to the same jobs. Understand, other employers in the private sector are well aware of what's going on. This is on the news every social media site you turn to every day. Again, I think today like 15,000 people from the IRS were let go. So understand employers see this and they're going to have a business mindset about this. So even if you do get a job, understand you're going to be lowballed because they know you have nowhere else to go. They know you didn't take the buyout. They got you by the balls.
About the
Order Punani.
letter that I had received, they didn't even know. So this thing hit hard, it hit fast, and a lot of people were blindsided, including myself. But just want to tell you guys that. Anyway, right now you're watching Casino is the name. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I'll try to keep you guys up to date on what's going on. We are.
Again, please make sure you go follow this brother's channel. He did mention he will be doing a little bit more posting now that he has a little bit more free time on his hands. Like I said, I just wanted to bring this video to let people know that this is very, very real. What's going on right now? This is like one of the biggest stories. Literally, everybody should be talking about this, no matter where you stand on it, just to bring awareness and attention to this matter. One thing he did not mention, but I did see in the comment section also, the brother just recently was building a brand new house. Just recently purchased, I don't know if it was the land, but he was going to build a brand new house, I believe, from the ground up. Now, come of last Thursday, he no longer has a job, which was his primary source of income. How is he going to be able to go through with this house? There's a lot of ramifications going on here that people are not really talking about. It's easy to talk tough online and say, I'm going to sue and rant and rave on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube. But when you're really in this situation, you're not going to be able to tell your mortgage lender, hey, I'm suing the Trump administration right now. I'm waiting on my money. They're not trying to hear that. You know, the school for your kids' tuition, they're not trying to hear that. The bank that lent you the money for the Benz with the panoramic sunroof and the burnt orange interior, they're not trying to hear that. This is real world stuff that's going on, and it's going to have, I'm telling you, this is going to have like a major, major effect of what's going on. Again, like I said, I will continue to update on the federal employees. And I'm going to follow the story all the way through, even if I wind up being wrong, even though I don't think I will be. I do think, Trump will honor the buyouts. Again, I'm not saying that he's the greatest or anything like that. We all know all politicians lie. I mean, you can't be a politician without being a skilled liar. That's just, I mean, one of the prereqs to being a politician, a liar, if we're just being real here. But I do think he will keep his word on these buyouts just to spite other people. Believe it or not, they see what's going on social media. They see people talking. And again, I think they will go through with the buyouts. Um, I know it's a lot of legalities around it, but understand Trump has the juice right now. Trump has all the power, and everyone knows it. And as we've already seen, they're going to bow the knee. Trust me, we're only 2 months into this administration, and they understand what time it is. Again, I do believe the buyouts will be honored. But if I'm wrong, again, either way, I'm going to come back and update it. And if I'm wrong, I will apologize. And it is what it is. But I strongly believe that people will get paid out if you follow the proper procedures, did it in the right time frame. I do believe you will get paid out. So I think it was September or 7 or 8 months. I think it was either October or September. I do think they will be honored. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Again, like I said, this is a very unfortunate thing that's happening. Very tragic, and it's going to have huge ramifications for a lot of people, especially in the next 3 to 6 months. But let me know what you think in the comments below. I look forward to hearing from you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.